So away they go then. The racing is off at exactly 8 a.m. local time. The walks earlier, the 20k walk has set off at 6 a.m. not long after the after sun was up. Are you disappointed with that? Are you surprised?
I am a bit surprised. As I said earlier, the trial isn't compulsory, but you know, if several women go under the time today, it's possible that all of those 3 absentees will not be going to Tokyo.
Dowie Griffiths in the blue, Chris Thompson in that sort of greyish vest in behind Dowie, and then Ben Connor, of course, who is the fastest man in the field in the last couple of years. And at 5k they've gone through in 15:24, so absolutely spot on what was required. In fact, a little bit quicker than was expected for the first 5k. I said the first mile was fast. I got it at about 4:55. Well, they are well inside the 2:11:30 qualifying standard. 10k there they've just gone through in 30:50. And Amara, you go rushing over to your tables and you will tell us that they are...
Yeah, so 31:09 is what they needed for Olympic qualification time. So they're somewhat inside that, well, if I've done my sums correctly. So all looking good so far.
Yeah, 30:48 would have had them on 2:10 tempo, so 30:50. Well, they're clearly on tempo for something around 2:10:10. Well over a minute, nearly a minute and a half inside the qualifying standard. They're looking comfortable. Is Chris Thompson still in touch with them? Chris was heading back a little while ago, and I'm not sure he is there. I can see Dowie Griffiths and Ben Connor. And yes, Mohammed Ardan is there as well.
I think Chris is there, but he's at the back of that group. Looks like he's struggling to stay with that group. Yeah.
It's strange, isn't it? Is he hanging on, or is he purposely just staying 10 or 15 metres back? That would be a rare position to choose to be in.
I think he's hanging on, Tim. There's no reason why you would want to run by yourself when you've got pacemakers a few metres ahead of you. I think he's struggling to stay with that pace.
We're also seeing Chris Thompson dropping further back. I don't know if you saw just then, but there was he looked to be 20 or 30 metres back from that little lead packet in the men's field. And this camera, you're getting this shot from, this stationary camera, is at the halfway point. So look at that clock, top left of the screen. 64:45, we'll call it unofficially, at halfway. They're on exactly 2:09:30 tempo. 2 minutes inside Olympic qualifying standard is quicker than we expected.
And we can bring you the latest split for the men. The men have gone through 30k in 1:32:26. And they needed 1:33:29 to be bang on qualification standard, so they are still about a minute, just over a minute ahead of qualification, the qualification standard. So I think the pace has slowed a tiny bit, but they're still comfortably inside that 2:11:30. Through 30k, Chris Thompson was some 35 seconds down on the leaders. And then the second sort of proper group, which included Tom Evans, Josh Griffiths and Adam Hickey, they were 2.5 minutes down on the leaders at 30k.
So Chris Thompson is actually holding it together pretty well, isn't he? You know, 35 seconds down, considering he's running on his own with over an hour and a half on the clock. You know, he's held on, and that gap has grown very, very gradually. So Chris has actually rallied, I suspect, over the last 20 minutes or so, and is keeping them, if not within range, just keeping his own tempo really, really well.
Yeah, if he can keep this going, you know, the lead men are on for 2:10:30 odd. You know, Chris could be doing a really good time. I mean, possibly even qualifying standard, but as long as he doesn't pay for that fast early pace. I think we've just seen Callum Hawkins. Callum Hawkins has left his pacemaking duties, so the proper racing gets underway in the men's race.
And this is the fascinating section, isn't it? But these three fellas, well, they are now very much into racing mode. 1 hour, 40 minutes on the clock, effectively. And Dowie Griffiths, Ben Connor and Mohammed Ardan. It's down to these three. The way things are unfolding, and they're on the schedule to come home in around 2:10 and a half, 2:10 and a half. The way it's unfolding at the moment, these three could all go well inside the Olympic qualifying standard. And the third placer might well end up being the unlucky man, with Callum Hawkins having already been pre-selected. So this is going to be a battle royal potentially. Now what's going on here? Chris Thompson has rallied and has come back to Mo Ardan and Ben Connor and Dowie Griffiths. Where is Dowie Griffiths? He's dropped back.
I think he's dropped back.
He is. He's about 40 metres back. Wow, it's all been happening. Now that is a real shock and a huge disappointment for the Swansea Harrier and his followers. But Chris Thompson, where has the Aldershot Farnham district man come from? This is incredible. I thought he was dead and buried as a
I thought he was dead
and
buried and had a shocker and was being lapped, but he's actually rallied.
Well, hasn't
this
he
is
just?
very, very odd.
And Chris
and Dowie Griffiths.
Well, Dowie looks so strong. I just wonder if an injury has returned or what. I'm loving this run from Chris Thompson. You know, you look at Chris's career and he's been one of those stalwarts. He's been out there in British colours in one championship after another, performing wonderfully. He's taken a few medals here and there, but he's also had to contend with a massive injuries. You know, he's just about to become a father, I think. I don't think he's a father yet, but Chris is, you know, it's got a busy life behind the scenes. And this is Chris Thompson, fully unleashed, uninjured, in great shape. And this is the Chris Thompson that actually, I think many of us has felt has been in waiting for quite a few years now. Ironically, it's coming when he's almost 40. I mean, 39, Chris, and yet looking fantastic.
Yeah, this is absolutely incredible from Chris. I mean, when he dropped off that lead group, I thought that was it for him, to be honest. And I've also thought his best surface really was the track. I thought he wasn't really a marathon runner, but he's absolutely going for it here. The latest split we have has Dowie Griffiths some 45 seconds adrift now from these top three. So Dowie Griffiths struggling for some reason. But Chris Thompson just going away. There's still 6k to go in this race, about 5k to go now. So Chris Thompson putting a real surge in now. I hope he can keep this going, because he's really going to suffer if he's overcooked it, but he's looking fantastic. Looks really relaxed. He's got a big gap back to Mo and Ben Connor.
Chris Thompson out on his own and has a lead, and this is like a fairy tale. Chris has an 11-second lead now and moving so well. And he too, and I love to see athletes going well at the marathon who have gone through the gears of a career, who have got the pedigree. Chris is a fabulous 1500 metre runner. He's a 13:11 5,000 metre runner. He's got great 10,000 metre speed, under 27:30, and he's bided his time and he's worked through the injuries and worked so hard with Coach Alan Story to get things right. And today it's going more right than ever so far. 2 hours on the clock. Probably about 10 minutes to run for Chris, maybe a click more, but it's looking absolutely fantastic. He's got one lap to come. He'll hear the bell this time. Chris beginning to grimace a little bit there, that surely he's hurting, and that's excusable after over 2 hours of hard running. But he's got about 5 minutes to go. He's had a little glance over his shoulder there. The glorious sight of empty path behind him as that battle rages between Ben Connor and Mo Ardan.
Yeah, so that third spot on the team could go to Ben or Mo. It's not automatic.
He's got about 450 metres to run, Chris Thompson, and looking around him and able to soak this up. And I always think back to Bruce Jenner, the great decathlete who took Olympic gold. He said when he ran down the home straight of the 1500 metres, he reminded himself to remember that feeling, to take it in, almost videotape in his mind the feeling of running down the home straight knowing you were going to achieve something special. And that's what Chris should be doing here now, because this is a magical day for him. He won't have too many more like this in his career. He knows this. He's going to be 40 very soon, but he's got Tokyo ahead of him now, and he storms away towards the finish line, which is waiting for him. And this is one of the most glorious returns to great form I've seen in many, many years by a British athlete.
Oh, completely, Tim. This is just phenomenal. Just so happy for him. He's had such a difficult, time with injuries, and You know, the transition up to the marathon, great run back in 2014, but hasn't found the same form since then. 2:11.19 he did on his debut in 2014, so brilliant to see him finding some really good form.
The final corner to negotiate for Chris Thompson as he turns into the finishing straight here, adjacent to the Palm House in Kew Gardens. It has been a fantastic run by this Briton, the grand old man of this field amongst the elite athletes. The Muller British Athletics Marathon Trials of 2021 will be won by Chris Thompson. There are tears around us now as Chris Thompson comes towards the line, checks his watch, of course. Look at the clock, it's going to be under 2:11. It's a massive personal best for Chris Thompson, one of the nice men of the sport, one of the really delightful individuals. Takes the win here in Kew Gardens. You can feel it, can't you? A man who wears his heart in his sleeve. He looks like he could go round again. Absolutely delightful for Chris Thompson. Under 2:11, a personal best at the age of 39 for the Aldershot Farnham and District athlete. And it's a massive fillip too, and credit to Alan Story, who has guided him in recent years. Prior to that, he was coached by Mark Rowland for a few years out in Eugene, Oregon, when he was in one of the big Nike squads. But he's had to battle through so many problems in recent years, and it is so heartwarming to see Chris come home like that with a brilliant run. He just had to be in the first two, Ben Connor, here today. Maybe he has used that track speed as Ardan negotiates that corner, just 5 or 7 seconds behind him, but Ben Connor can relax and soak up this feeling down the finishing straight as he runs himself into a place on the plane for Tokyo. His ticket is booked, and we have the marathon team for Tokyo. Chris Thompson, Ben Connor, and of course Callum Hawkins, who has played his part today so well. And Mohammed Adan, well, it's been a wonderful run from him too, just outside 2:12. What a debut from him.